Hi everybody, welcome back to Black Women Rising, the podcast. I'm Leanne Pero, CEO and founder of Black Women Rising, and we are back this year with a little bit of a twist. We have labelled this show an intimate conversation with Black Women Rising, where we will be bringing you a multitude of guests and experts, all who have had a direct or indirect experience with cancer. I will say that this podcast is part funded by MSD. One of the guests is an MSD employee. Otherwise, Black Women Rising maintains full editorial control.
So my name is Leeanne Adu, I am 39 and I had triple negative breast cancer, diagnosed at 35.
Wow. How did your diagnosis impact you, Leanne?
It hit me like a blast from out of space. It was during the pandemic. I was the fittest, strongest that I'd been for years. I felt so good, and actually that was probably what helped me find my lump, because I had lost weight. So when I woke up and I found a lump one day, I was like, oh, that's very new. It rocked my whole entire world, because I couldn't possibly believe that this was happening to me right now when I felt in such a great place in my life.
I know. This is something that a lot of people talking about, cancer coming along at such an unexpected time. It was the same with me. I was diagnosed when I was at my fittest, and the healthiest I'd been in years. I know your life has changed a lot since cancer, but I guess one of the biggest topics that people don't like to talk about is how much it impacts the relationships around you. How did cancer impact the relationships around you?
It really solidified some of them. You know, my best friend came with me to the appointment where I got diagnosed. We sat there, we held hands, and she was probably the only person that I would have wanted in that room with me. I think it was really telling that it wasn't my husband who was in the room with me that day, because the one thing that I realised very, very early on was that I needed to manage other people's emotions and the way that they were going to behave around me. And I knew that he was not a person that I was going to be able to kind of rely on in that space. All throughout my treatment, which again was I could only imagine how lonely it is when we're not in a pandemic, but when we're doubly isolated by not being able to leave our houses, not being able to see my family, not being able to see my friends. The one person that I could rely on was him, and actually I couldn't rely on him. So throughout the process, I felt more and more lonely and more far away from the people who I needed to look after me, and just unsupported. And so some people gathered around as much as they could. My friends would turn up at my door, they'd have gifts, they'd have presents. But other people, I think, perhaps don't have the capacity to give that. And sadly, he didn't.
But it's telling, right? Because actually, especially if you've sort of lived a life like you have, you're such a giver. You've given to everybody throughout your life. Look at the job that you do, as a PA, managing multiple businesses and things like that. And you're so giving, but actually the one time you needed the support back, that was so hard to find from the person that was meant to be the closest to you.
Yeah, and people run. They get scared, and I understand that it can be very scary to see the person that you love and care about, the biggest part of your life, in such a precarious health situation. And we can sit there and we can say, right, we're going for cure, or this is treatable. But actually you don't know. The first thing you think when someone gets diagnosed with cancer is that they're going to die, which is a really natural kind of feeling. So I understand the fear that can come along when the person that you love is told that they've got a life-changing diagnosis. But I also think that we have a duty to the people that we love to pull up our socks a little bit and rally round and be what they need you to be in that moment.
So fast forward, because how many years are you on from your cancer diagnosis now?
So 4 years out of my diagnosis, 4 years and a week out of my diagnosis. And now I am single. I am in the middle of a divorce, happily single, happily getting divorced, because I know that it's putting me in a place where I'm going to be able to be as happy as I need to be.
Wow. Yeah. It's so inspiring. And out of all of this, I guess my question is how have you found the strength Because obviously I know after, Black Women Rising now, we're going on to 650 members now. And I guess one of the common themes actually has been how much our members have had to unfortunately separate from their partners, whether it's divorce or long-term partners and things like that. And there's this kind of like transformation that isn't a bad thing.
No. Yeah. I always wondered if I'd have an epiphany moment as I finished treatment. Like, when's my epiphany moment? When's my, I'm going to conquer mountains, I'm going to become, I don't know. And it never happened in a light bulb kind of way. Yeah. But I think gradually over time, I realised that the person that I was before cancer wasn't happy. Yeah. The person that I was before cancer wasn't living her life to the fullest. Absolutely. And now I have an opportunity. Do I want to stay being not happy and not living to my full potential, or do I want to find ways to make myself the happiest that I could ever be? Therapy has been an absolute godsend. And I had a little therapy review yesterday with my therapist, and we really talked about the changes that I've been through and how I've changed my own life. And it's not to say that everybody has to make a big dramatic change, but you do have to think about what are the things that are really getting me down? What are the things that are holding me back? And it's always ourselves holding us back. But what are those things, and how can I make those changes? Absolutely. How long am I going to keep repeating the same mistakes?
Exactly. And look at you now, thriving. What's next for you?
What's next? I mean, I'm about to hit my 40th birthday.
Yeah, you are.
So excited. My goal is to continue living a life without fear, or with as little fear as possible, because I'm terrified. Who was it who called me a worrier earlier? I worry a lot. And I can sit in that worry and be like, yes, I am a worrier, but also I cannot let those things hold me back. I'm not going to let a lack of relationship, when I've got so many fulfilling relationships around me, I can go into this future knowing that I am fulfilled by the people that I know love me and that I love them. I know that I can go forward with the capacity to build businesses, to build friendships, to build relationships, to make sure my daughter is happy, to make sure she's thriving. And all of that pushes me along, because it just helps build this huge picture of how I can find my own success in life. Yeah.
Well, you're inspirational, and I love, like, for me, I've seen the glow up and I've seen all the things that you're doing, and it's inspiring to me, I see you on that peloton and doing your thing, and and thriving. And like you said, it's that fear, isn't it? And actually going, because me and you have been around each other quite a long time, so we've also seen others, our friends, like, not make it. And I think that also makes us go, actually, life is for living, and I'm going to live it now. So, yeah, it's given me goosebumps, actually, even saying it. But I see it, and I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
Leanne, everybody. Thank you.